Welcome back, MTG Joe here. So we made it to the top 1200 for the Mythic rank for January, which means we will be playing in the February points challenge. So that is the last weekend of February on the Saturday. So it's going to be best of three. I made the Mythic top 1200 with a best of one deck, my Esper Doom Foretold list. So I'm trying to play it out, import it over to a best of three list so I can play it in the tournament ideally. I've been trying out a couple different decks the last few days just to see if I wanted to play something else. Haven't had as much success. I was playing again best of one last night with this offline. I won 11-3. It has a really good matchup against mono red and blue white control. I'm 19-8 versus versus mono red, and I'm 7-2 versus blue white control. The deck I lose against is Reclamation, which I'm hoping the sideboard helps out. So I'm gonna try it out. Probably end up playing one or two best of threes and then some more best of ones just to try to rank up. I want to hit Mythic again, ideally. So the list itself, been kind of tweaking it along the edges to see where we want to be. But in essence, what you're trying to do is play out a bunch of enchantments, like either give you value in terms of card draw, land, stuff like that. With the Sagas, Treacherous Blessing draws you cards. Oath-Kai is a removal spell that stays on the board. What you're trying to do is get these out and then play Doom Foretold to sack our stuff, and then force your opponent to sack their good things, and then that helps you break parity. So it's kind of a prison style deck. So really what we've done is I've cut down a Birth of Meletis to go up a Banishing Light. I wanted some more main board answers. Kind of a non-bow in a sense, but you can still just play around it. You can also reset it with Teferi to get your Banishing Lights again. So it's not too bad. It also, in a way, like you can sack your own Banishing Light. They get the whatever is under it. But it keeps your Doom Foretold out longer if the opponent's not casting things out when they want to force the Doom Foretold to be sacked. So Teferis, you got some Disruption. I only play one Dance of the Manse. It's not that good against aggro decks, and it doesn't like auto win you the game in some cases. So I usually just want one as kind of a recycle of Doom Foretolds. It's more of just reusing some resources. I cut down one Birth of Meletis because I felt like 4 was too much. We only play 3 planes. Win cons are basically so you can win with just your opponent scooping frustration, but Elspeth can keep cycling with its escape, and then you can just win with Ashiok or Dream Trawler. I've tried Dream Trawler, I've tried 3 mana Kaya and Liliana on this slot. Dream Trawler is probably the best clock, and that can also gain us life. There's also Castle Ardenvale tokens, or just with Doom Foretold, you get the 2/2 Knights. I'm going Shatter the Sky over Kaya's Wrath. It's easier to cast mana-wise because we're a 3-color deck. If you're playing like the black-white version, then Kaya's Wrath is better. We fetch a lot of basic planes with this deck, so it's a little bit easier. We have like 2 blue sources that wouldn't cast it, so mana base wise, I've cut the the blue-white temple down one, and I went up some more Temple of Deceits just to help fix the mana problems. So just little tweaks along the edges. And then sideboard wise, this is the first iteration of the sideboard I'm going to try out. Devout Decree, there's a lot of red and black things going around. Noxious Grasp versus like the Simic matchups. Some Vetoes and Mystical Disputes versus like the control matchup. Spyglass when needed. A Cry versus like the aggro decks. Ashiok for anything using their graveyards. But also any of like, if there's any search kind of effects. Another Conquer's Death, and a Heliod's Intervention versus artifacts or enchantments. So I'm going to play it out. We got up to Plat 3 yesterday. I was starting at like the bottoms. So we'll give it a shot, see how this best of 3 version goes. I usually play best of 1. There's a lot more aggro, which we actually have a good aggro matchup, so I don't mind it compared to like some of the other decks. Like I was trying blue-white control out, a couple different variations, and it gets stomped by mono-red. So it has a harder time matching up there, where we have like Oath-Kai and stuff. This hand, we go first. We draw a land, but we don't have a scry. We have some catch-up mechanics. Let's try it out. We have effectively 2 draws. And if we draw an untapped blue source, then we curve out a lot nicer. Okay, so this is a mono red player, which we're happy to see most of the time. That's not what we want. So really need a land here. Punished. So if they drop like Annex here, it's still pretty bad. They just hard cast Bone Crusher. Okay, I'm actually going to concede without showing them more. We're a little too far on curve here. And I don't want them to see what we have. They just saw 2 lands there. So the Devout Decrees come in, the Carnarium, and probably... Hey Quantum, how's it going? Maybe Heliod's Intervention. It can gain us life. In this matchup, the Treacherous Blessings could come out. They're more of a liability. The Thought Erasures could come out. Keep everything else. So I don't think... So this is really good against some of their bigger stuff. Do we want 3 is the question. Probably. Let's run it like that. Yeah, I really like Doom Foretold. It's a fun list. I actually picked up a lot of the cards in paper. So when like GP Toronto comes and stuff for side events, it's modern, but I got most of the stuff here. Actually, they're in the other room. I got a bunch of the full arts. So I actually pulled like foil Meletis and stuff. What's with this mana? So we go first. We have a Scry to find a land, and then we have Omen of the Sea. I think I still keep this. No. I'm gonna get punished again, aren't I? No. Stupid adhesive. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. That should help us find our lands, and then we can get Doom Foretold. Yeah, the full art Doom Foretolds were like $4. And then Dance of the Manse was like $3. I got the full art Elspeth and Ashioks. Those were also not too bad. They're actually the same price as the non-full arts. So they light up the stage here. That helps them find their lands. So they might have kept a one-lander. Okay, so they go Fervent here. Ooh. We're just not hitting lands with this deck. Are you serious? Alright, well, this is very odd variance. 24 lands, you should... Like, we kept a one-lander, and we've drawn all 4 Doom Fortolds. This is actually hilarious. So we'll just reset the Scorched Spitter. Okay, so we got that, so I can sweep the board next turn and then follow it up with Doom Foretold. Ooh, that's scary. That's 5/9 damage coming my way. Let's see if they attack Teferi. They ignore Teferi. So in case they have any hasty threats. So they could Ember Cleave this turn. Problem 2 is now they, as a follow-up, like, we could Doom Foretold, but they're likely playing out more. Yeah, some of the full arts are pretty cheap right now. Yeah, we're probably just dead to the Steamkin unless we get another sweeper. No, too late there. I can make a blocker, but nah, that was poor. Weird mana, weird mana there. Also drawing 4 Doom Foretolds in our opening 8. It's usually a good matchup too. Alright, let's fire it up again. Want to get some decent Analoga games to see. Really, I want to play Reclamation if possible. I've yet to beat with this deck. Holy, we have mana. So in a pinch, what you can always do is your Teferi can target your own Treacherous Blessing to get it off the table. Okay, this could be Ramp, it could be Reclamation, or it can be Flash. Okay, so it's Reclamation. So I'm actually going to get the Storm's Wrath off the table. The reason being, this can deal with Teferi, where they don't have that many other cards that can. In this matchup, you usually just want to plus Teferi. So the problem with this matchup is you can draw out the game, but they eventually just amass enough mana to combo you out. Yeah, the good thing about mono red, win or lose, the games are usually done in like 5 minutes. This is also a matchup where it's not unfeasible for the opponent to go to time. It's a very sunny day, and the snow off the roof across the street is like blinding me. Okay, so they just Thassa's Intervention here. So I'm actually just going to go Treacherous Blessings here, try to find like a Scry land. So next turn is just going to be Ashiok. Start making tokens. Okay, they brazen. I think we just Teferi. You know what? I should have played the land, because if they have another Thassa's Intervention, yeah. Punt on my end, because now they get Reclamation up. That was an error. We had the land too. Okay, so we have Teferi. I think we just get Conquer's Death going. It can bring back this Teferi. And I'll take this off the battlefield. Next turn I have this Teferi to bait out. And then I can Othakaya. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So still off from Othakaya and Ashiok. Need a Doom Foretold sooner than later. This is hurting us a lot more than it needs to. They do have enough to get that back. Okay, it's actually not bad because this turn what I do is I Teferi, bounce Uro, and then Othakaya the Brazen Borer. Or we just Shatter the Sky. Just takes them both off the battlefield. So with this one, I'm actually just going to Teferi, get this off the battlefield so I stop taking damage, and then Shatter the Sky. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they can explosion us for 6 without reclamation out. In a pinch as well, I can always dance the Manse back. The Elspeth conquers death. So that's a way we can exile this Uro again. Opponent's using quite a bit of clock. That's actually fine because we just get Teferi back. Thank you. I'll take a Teferi back. Should have just gone face there. So we have Conquer's Death in play if we need to get rid of something. Storm's Wrath doesn't kill our planeswalkers. Even if they somehow might have a plan, but like you're throwing away 4 damage anyways, you might as well just go to the face. Like I could understand drawing the cards. Opponents used like 3 more minutes than us so far. Firing through the growth spirals. You know what? Maybe I want... See, the problem is Narset's good in this matchup, but with Storm's Wrath, it's actually not because you have to keep it at 5 for it to avoid that. Oh, they might just be trying to fill the yard for Uro. So let's attack in. See what they do. It's likely a Brazen that's coming down. Ooh, Hydrate Crisis. So it's Teferi here. And then if they drop in Brazen Borer, then I'm going to Oath to Kaya. And then I have Elspeth that can also start gaining us some life next turn, or make these 2/3s bigger. So Uro could come back, but I have Conquer's Death for it. All these card draw also kind of may cast up to 3 face-up cards without paying its mana cost. So I could get Wilderness Wreck if I want. Okay, they reset anyways. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. So mana efficiency wise, I'm probably just gonna... they go Brazen as well. Like a Doom Foretold. So I can do you. Likely draw into a land. Cast it. I can Ashiok. Bounce Uro. I could this guarantee I get Uro out of the way. So I think we just do that. Because even then, if they attack Teferi, they can't block anyways. Those are some great cards to take off the top. So 1 explosion, 2 explosions, and jeez. X14. Might be able to mill them out actually. Because I'm just going to Ashiok, bounce the Hydrate Crisis. Ooh. How much mana do I have? Because Doom Foretold doesn't quite get there, so I think we just Ashiok. Because I could have Teferi bounce, but then they have an opportunity to combo me. Because they can't make their Hydrate Crisis that big this turn. Got rid of a Storm's Wrath and another explosion. Yeah, Ashiok's sweet. As long as you can maintain some semblance of board control. And the one thing I like is its tokens attack on multiple axes. It threatens their library, which in control mirrors is pretty good. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this could be Explosion. just go Uro. So we don't get the second value out of this Teferi. Opponent wisely doesn't attack into it this turn. Alright, 8 cards. Did we hit all the Storm's Wrath? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so they double Reclamation out. Let's put a loyalty. It's higher loyalty, we'll just keep it. So I can upkeep this. Or I can just Elspeth. So let's start with attacking. So their Scry's trying to protect the top of their library. They have 8 cards. I'm just going to gain 5 life. It makes it harder for them to kill us. And then just upkeep trigger. And then we'll Thought Erasure them on upkeep. And then take the explosion if they have it. I don't think it matters. They can't forcefully kill us at this point. I may want more discard in this matchup out of the sideboard. Opponent's really tanking the clock right now. Which is probably beneficial for us. We can slow the game down, but... And I don't think they've seen Doom Foretold out of us. They might just think we're Esper control. It's funnier in this matchup, just with like how our cards line up, we have a easier time dealing with a 6/6 Uro than we do a Hydrate Crisis. Opponents now used 5 extra minutes of clock. They're just gonna rope us to death. So this matchup really comes down to if we can keep Teferi out, it stops a lot of the reclamation stuff from going off. And even this game, these few matches have been really weird just mana-wise. Okay, so... You can just Oath of Kaya. I want to waste more clock. Ashiok's fine because it kind of blows up the combo. Another Conquer's Death, the Disputes, the Vetoes. Noxious Grasp's interesting. Yeah, like, because the thing is, our backup plan is always just play Treacherous is kind of a liability. Banishing Light could come out. Dream Trawler's too slow. That Dance of the Manse, that game just sat in our hand. Trim and Othakaya. Do we need Ashiok? So what does Ashiok deal with? It deals... They don't really search their library. It can exile their graveyard and catch an Uro, but overall it's kind of weak and I don't think we want to tap out for it. Shatter the Skies are fine, but maybe we do want the Heliod's Intervention. Run it like this. Just bring in the counters. Trim the kind of pseudo removal. Dream Trawler's not the best because they're going to bring in their own mystical disputes this game. This hand's great. Yes, please. So I'm probably just going to curve Thought Erasure into Birth of Meletis because I want to catch the Wilderness Reclamation. Okay, they got Omen of the Sea. They go Nightpack Ambusher. I don't think I mind that, to be honest. Because we have Shatter in hand to clean it up. So the question is, do we go Hydroid Krasis to get the card draw out of their hand, or Explosion? This is easier for us to interact with. That could have combo. So I think we get rid of that. Veto. Yeah, I think that's fine. They main phase the Growth Spiral. So I'm going to do this so I can hold up Dovin's Veto. Maybe it was the play to take the Night Pack because it forces them to play out on their turn. That's a straight Dovin's Veto. So they might have had Mystical Dispute here. So we're just going to get this going now. Put a stop on my upkeep so I can Omen of the Sea. Because even if they have a Mystical Dispute, probably want to land here. I think I'm okay with Temple of Deceit because I don't think we're playing out anything this turn. So I'll just scry here, pretend like we have another Veto. And then I'll flash in an Omen of the Sea at end step. Okay, they just scry. Interesting they're not cracking the Fabled Passage. Thought Erasure is actually really good because we can take whatever they don't play here. Hey Ben Coslow, how's it going? Thanks for stopping by. We are in match 2 against, or game 2, match 2 against Wilderness Wreck. We got mana screwed against Mono Red and lost that one. Sweet. Sweet, sweet, sweet. So I can Birth to get a land. And then just set up Doom Foretold. This forces them to sack the Crisis. Ideally, if we had another land, then I could have Thought Erasured and done that. I'm going to get rid of the Birth of Meletis here. So I'm running a Esper, so blue, black, white Doom Foretold list. So built around the card Doom Foretold. So it's kind of what's called stacks, where you put a bunch of enchantments, and it's like a tax deck where you force your opponent to sack stuff while you play these things that cycle for value. So like Birth of Meletis comes into play, gets us a land. Okay, so they negate here. That's fine. Again, just forcing them to throw away a card. Even if they play Intervention here, or Reclamation, we have it on the stack. Where we can Heliod's Intervention it. Opponent's playing very slow. Opponent also has to win 2 games here to beat us. That's fine. Oh, that sounds sweet. There's a guy on Reddit or Spike, like Reddit Spikes or Reddit Arena. He had a Bant Folio deck that played like the 7 mana shuffle your library with Smothering Tides, draw 7 cards. So you drew like a bunch of cards that way and then you folioed. Are you doing more of like whatchamacallit? What did you name? Birth of Meletis. That doesn't actually do anything. I think I'm just gonna sort out our draw here. like Thousand Year Storm with Underworld Dreams. So I'm gonna start by attacking. If they ambush with the Nightpack Ambusher, I have Othakaya. Want to give them the least information possible that we drew Teferi. The fact these have Vigilance is also really good against the Wolf. So I'm doing this just in case they have a counter. So they have Mystical Dispute. I think we pay it. Teferi's worth a lot in this matchup because now they're forced to play the Wolf. And I can just bounce the Wolf and draw a card. Alright, so they drew a land. I'm surprised they brought in Wolf against us. It lines up pretty poorly, like when you consider we're a Teferi deck. Because now we just do this. Even if Teferi dies, we get utility. And they're dead next turn if they don't have blockers. Just get a land out. So Doom Foretold did its job to kind of curb them. I think they went too mid-rangey. Their best way is to beat us combo-wise. Our deck's very good against like mid-range decks. So it should be my first win. I was 0-5 against Wilderness Rec decks before this. It's funny, the deck I'm best against with this deck is Mono Red. And we got stomped, and then against Reclamation, which always beats us. Come on, opponent. They've straight up used like 9 more minutes of clock than us. Congrats, you used Fry. You're dead. Just concede. Thank you. Oi. Okay, so it wasn't too bad there. Sideboard plan against that deck seemed good. Still unsure if we want more like disruption, like hand disruption. I think the extra Conquer's Death is good in that matchup, disputes in that. Probably run a couple best of ones just to try to get our rank up. Trying to get to Mythic again. I'm just going to give Arena a quick reset. Been going for about 45 minutes, so it tends to start lagging after that. Welcome to all those stopping by. What are you doing, Arena? Part of the reason why we just reconnected there. We are playing a Doom Foretold list, so Esper, blue, white, black. Kind of play a bunch of enchantments, sacrifice them to force your opponent to sacrifice. Let's play standard ranked, play best of one. So this is what got me top 1200 last month. I finished 1039 on the ladder. Once we peaked at about 600, and then we just kind of let the rank kind of deteriorate, just playing enough games to keep up. I wasn't really trying to go for like top spot. So opponent goes first. We'll try this out. Okay, so mono red. The Treacherous Blessings are a little treacherous. So the double Fervent actually hurts because they hit us for 4 this turn instead of like a Steamkin. So Birth's actually really good in this matchup. It both ramps you for a basic that doesn't hurt you. And then we go. So I'm probably just going to have to Teferi, throw it away for value. Burning Prophet is an interesting one. So really I'm just trying to set him up so I can Shatter the Sky. Oh, they're playing a burn version with Skewer. This one's going to be tougher then. So let's just bounce the Prophet. That's actually good because I can sweep next turn without taking damage. And I gain 2 life back from this, and I can also, if they don't kill Teferi, instant speed it. Do they just have all burn? Yeah. So the more burn-based versions of Mono Red, we haven't really seen much of this. So Teferi's a very unique card based on the static text. So basically, it doesn't allow your opponent to play at any point other than at sorcery speed. So it shuts off your opponent's counter spells. In that last matchup when we were playing against like the Temur Reclamation deck, they generally what they do is they, with Wilderness Reclamation, they float mana and then they play something at their end step, but Teferi shuts that off. Also, its minus ability lets you cycle through quite well. So no white mana, but I think we still keep with both a Scry here and Omen. So it lets you bounce pretty much anything for tempo play, and then it draws you a card. Okay, so this is probably the green-black food deck that's been going around. So I'm going to shock here. It's not the best matchup. And then even with Teferi, that game, if we had another chance to untap, we plus Teferi, and then we can do our board wipes at instant speed, which makes it a bit worse for our opponent to play around. So I want a second white here. Don't think we want Shatter or that at this point. So I think we're just going to set up the temple here and say go. You know, at this point I probably want Shatter. Teferi, the best way to describe Teferi, it's great when it's on your side of the board. It's a pain in the ass when it's on your opponent's side. The static text, I've fallen for it so many times. But it's really good in our deck too, because not only can we use it to bounce our opponent's stuff, so say we play something like Elspeth Conquers Death, we can exile our opponent's 3 CMC stuff or greater, and then we can bounce it back to our hand and use it again. So we can recycle our removal spells that way. So here, I think we actually just get Elspeth going. There's not much utility right now for Conquer's Death. Because the thing is, with the Cauldron Familiar, they just sack it and then bring it back, and then they get to draw a card. This matchup's actually pretty bad, because they get the Cat Oven that helps them break their parity, so we're not really attacking through that. So I'm actually going to attack here. Because now I can set up Doom Foretold a little bit better. And then I can bring back Elspeth, make more actually, I can't bring back Elspeth yet. So what we're probably going to have to do here... So they do get to draw a card. But without a goose or something to create more food tokens. The cat won't stay out that long. So they'll sack it there. I sack this. So this Dance of the Manse is probably just going to be a value dance. to get these back, draw a card, get a Doom Foretold out again. So this is interesting. They can take either of these. I think Dance is what they're going to take. I'd be happy if they take... Ooh, they take the Conquer's Death. That's much better for us. In this present moment. So here the question... So I could Shatter the Sky, which forces them to sack one of these Trail of Crumbs. I can't Elspeth. I can make a food token. So I think we just Shatter, get them to get... Like, I want these off the battlefield, because this is what gives them card advantage. And we're going to lose this, but I can get it back with Dance of the Manse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that's a little scary. And us drawing nothing but lands also doesn't help the cause. So I can make that. I think we just have to dance here. We dance for 4. It draws us a card, it gets the Trail of Crumbs off, hopefully finds us. Okay, that's something else. Because then I can double Doom, they have to sack 2 things. Actually, I don't. I think we need a board wipe. Ah, jeez. This has just been a weird draw. Problem here is I need a sweeper or we're dead. So Paradise Druid can just sack to get around with Garrick. So we need a board wipe. Nope. Drew every land in our deck. Some weird games. I'll post if you're interested as well. I've been tracking like offline play at least with this deck, statistics based on matchups, win percentages, play, draw. It's actually something funny is like last night when I was playing, I had a better win record on the play than I did on the draw. This hand's sweet. Going Omen into Treacherous Blessing into Doom Foretold. Against blue-white control nonetheless. So our matchup against blue-white control, as long as we can get around to like a counterspell or a Teferi, we're actually really good against Dream Trawler because of Doom Foretold. And we do have like these Shatter the Skies, which also help. I don't think we want either, just of how our hand's curving out. Teferi's great. So I'm actually going to Teferi plus here. So that gets around the counter spell, so next turn I'm guaranteed. So they might Teferi get a Banishing Light. So I think I'm just gonna Treacherous Blessings this turn. Then I could set up the Thought Erasure and Doom Foretold. Because the problem is I can get it going right now. I think we want more. No, we need a second white. So the problem is, so I could have dropped it this turn. They sack this, I get my Teferi. But then if they have their own Teferi, they bounce the Omen of the Sea. And then I have to sack my Teferi to the Doom Foretold. And then with their Teferi out, it doesn't allow us to... So this is where we drop Doom Foretold. And then I get my Teferi back. And they had to main phase Thirst for Meaning, meaning they were missing a land. And now we got them pretty locked. Most of these lists don't play Planar Cleansing, especially if they're playing an enchantment package. Some of them in best of one will play Fae of Wishes. Okay, so they Conquers Death. They opt for Teferi. That's very interesting. So let's see what's hiding out in our opponent's hand. Oh, geez. Just every counter spell in the world. So I'm actually going to do Thirst for Meaning here. So Ben Koslow, all my decks, they're all on aetherhub.com. If you are currently on mobile, or sorry, if you're on your computer, there's a little widget here that you can hover over and then it'll pull up the deck list. Otherwise, if you're on mobile, I can link you the deck. So here, they're likely just going to do this because they want to drop this Dream Trawler. So I think we just do this, play out an Othakaya, and say go. Oops. Sorry. Deck list is there. Well, if they're not gonna commit, we'll just continue building our board state. Like, we have a clock, which is nice. I'm not gonna throw, like with the amount of counters they have, we're not gonna throw into the counter spells because they also gain the opponent life, which skews the clock. So what the opponent's probably trying to wait to do is play out multiple, like a Dream Trawler with counter backup. But at that point, like, I can try to Shatter the Sky and Doom Foretold in the same turn. I think we just pass the turn. Like, I want to Omen of the Sea, make them tap out on their turn. Thirst for Meaning. See if they've been the Trawler. If we had a Castle Ardenvale, it would have been really nice. Okay, so they've been the Trawler. So they might have a Conqueror's Death in hand. I mean, sure. It's another Doom Foretold if they counter the first, so let's go after their hand. They'll probably absorb here. That gets one counter spell out of there. So I think we just pass the turn here. Because they're unlikely. Okay, so they just go like that. So do we have... Okay, so I don't want more lands. It's actually pretty good because I can try to take this Absorb out of their hand, and if not, I get to drop a Doom Foretold. And at least get another token that way, and a card draw. And then this also sets us up if we draw Dance of the Manse. Our graveyard's pretty stacked. Okay, Teferi's good too. Because with Teferi I can start bouncing these Othakayas back to hand. So let's see if they counter this. Oh, opponent's got mono counter spells against us. They thirst for meaning. We have multiple answers for Dream Trawler in hand, which bodes well for us. I think we just sack this for value. Clear out. Don't want either of these. Okay, sweet. We got Teferi. That resolving is actually good. And then back up to Teferi. So I'm going to make them deal with this Teferi before playing out the second. Okay, so they play a Dream Trawler. And Omen of the Sea. So they're trying to protect their Dream Trawler from a Doom Foretold. But what we can do nicely is play out our Teferi, bounce the Omen of the Sea, and then play Doom Foretold, and then get them to sack their Dream Trawler. Yeah, Esper burn. It's always the alternate win con. You gotta be able to win in multiple ways, and that's what I like this deck. Unlike the blue-white deck, you pretty much win with Dream Trawler. This one I could beat with Night Beats, I could beat with Teferi looping Othakayas, Doom Foretolds, our own Dream Trawler. You also just gain a lot of life, which hedges the aggro matchups. I've also just gotten a whole whack. If we draw, what is it? Dance of the Manse? Okay, so the Meletis here. So they're on Teferi. See, that's interesting. I would probably have bounced the Othakaya to force me to sack one of these. Do we have... We just have Teferis in the yard? Okay, so we drew multiple Conqueror's Deaths now. So we'll do this, exile Teferi, and then just with these Othakayas, just burn out our opponent. We the Burn deck. I could double Doom Foretold here, but I think I like keeping one at a time. Opponent's also gone through a good chunk of their deck. See what they target here. So just Shatter the Sky, wipe their board. Yeah, and they're dead. Blue-white's really easy to beat. As soon as you could get a Doom Foretold under. So like meta-wise, I'm best suited against the non-burn version of mono red, the creature based, and blue-white. We bet Team Erect today, which was actually something I was hoping to do. So pretty much stayed even, unfortunately. But got some experience with the sideboard for the Mythic Points Challenge later the month. What is Standard Treasure? What do you win? Heliod's Pilgrim. Literally nothing. Okay, these card styles are useless. Alright, there's an event. It's not really worth anything. Get really mediocre card styles for creatures you don't care about or spells. So I'm going to wrap this one up. You got to do some errands around the house. I'll probably be back tomorrow. If you missed any part of this, I'll have it up on YouTube later today. And as always, if you have any suggestions for decks or anything like that, you can let me know on my YouTube channel or on any of my social media platforms. All MTG_Joe. Thanks for tuning in and have yourself a great weekend.